I've always been sort of poetic, I guess you'd say. I was poetic from very young, actually, and I liked rhymes. I remember years ago when I was a kid in school, I used to write poetry, poems. I can't even recall any of them, but it's been a while. But like I say, I've always been interested in the history of our people. And as far as enslavement and whatnot goes, I never did like the word slavery, because it sort of depicted this is what that person was, nothing more, whatever slavery represented. And I wanted to emphasize that. I wanted to make that clear, and poetically was so my people were not slaves. They were this and that. They were mothers, fathers. They were women and children. And my people were not slaves. My people were enslaved. And then it just flowed. Like I said, that's how I express things, and I wanted to express it where it would be interesting and sort of thought-provoking at the same time. Hi, I'm Vern Braithwaite. I'm a black man from Halifax, Nova Scotia. I was born and raised in Nova Scotia, and I don't know if a lot of people realize it, but Nova Scotia is one of the originating points of black migration into Canada. And my people arrived here around the mid-1700s. And ever since then, it has been said that my people were slaves. My people were slaves. My people were slaves. My people were enslaved. My people were not slaves. My people were enslaved. My people were not slaves. As long as it has been said that my people were slaves, it has been widely accepted. It has been grossly misconstrued. It has been rarely challenged. It has been taken for granted. It has whitewashed the reality. It has justified the brutality. It has perpetuated a lie. It has obliterated the truth. My people were enslaved. My people were not slaves. My people were robbed. My people were stolen. My people were kidnapped. My people were abducted. My people were stacked into ships and taken to far-off lands. My people were chained. My people were whipped. My people were beaten. My people were starved. My people were bought. My people were sold. My people were raped. My people were murdered. My people were enslaved. My people were not slaves. My people were degraded. My people were separated. My people were segregated. My people were castrated. My people were assassinated. My people were criticized. My people were victimized. My people were demonized. My people were terrorized. My people were enslaved. My people were not slaves. My people were detested. My people were molested. My people were protested. My people were arrested. My people were oppressed. My people were distressed. My people were regressed. My people were obsessed. My people were enslaved. My people were not slaves. My people were defiant in the face of aggression. My people were tenacious at the hands of repression. My people were fearless in the midst of tyranny. My people were heroic in the struggle for freedom. My people were champions in the fight for justice. My people were resilient in their quest for survival. My people were exemplary to the test of equality. My people were enslaved. My people were not slaves. My people were kings and queens. My people were lion tamers and herdsmen, hunters, providers, sailors, and warriors. My people were astronomers and mathematicians, pyramid builders and architects, scientists and inventors. My people were explorers, pioneers and discoverers, artists, musicians, and authors. My people were teachers, preachers, lawmakers and caregivers, medicine men and midwives. My people were singers and dancers, pilots and Olympians, philanthropists and peacemakers, parents and children. My people were simple folks of every sort, excellent at every sport. Pioneers who paved the way. Heroes who saved the day. Brilliant folks who shone their lights. Visionaries who raised our sights. Men and women who would not give in to that evil, nasty sin. Who kept on fighting, some to their graves. They, my people, were not slaves. My people were religious. My people were spiritual. My people were helpful, hopeful, thoughtful. My people were loving, good, and kind. My people suffered for so many years. My people sacrificed blood, sweat, and tears. My people participated, and my people gave. My people contributed, and my people slaved. But my people were enslaved. My people were not slaves. When such a moniker, a label, as slave is put on a person, a group of people, or a race of people, blurs the visualization. It permits the subjugation. It prohibits communication. And it obscures the realization that those people are people. To be a slave is to be senseless and worthless. To be a slave is to be careless and meaningless. To be a slave is to be shiftless and thoughtless. To be a slave is to be brainless and heartless. To be a slave is to be docile, manipulable. To be a slave is to be meek and weak. My people are strong. My people are determined. My people are studied. My people are learned. My people are celebrated. My people are emulated. My people are loved. My people are appreciated. My people are survivors of the past. My people are leaders of the present. My people are promises of the future. My people are beautiful. My people are you. My people were enslaved. My people were not slaves. Thank you. I had done some music with my sister, my niece, my brother, my cousin, and we done a CD, and it's called Pax Vobiscum, Peace Be With You. And we had just done that
sometime in 2006, I believe. And as I stated in the beginning of the book, my sister was Phyllis was conducting the Black History Month program at the church, and she asked me to sing one or two of the songs on the program. And I wasn't going to do any singing. You know, I said, no, I can't do any singing. I haven't sang. I used to sing years ago. I had a group when I was young in Halifax. But I hadn't done any singing for a long time. And my niece, Nadine, she is awesome. And I was not going to go on the stage after Nadine or during Nadine. So I said, no, I can't do that, Phil. But I wanted to be, I sort of was sorry that I hadn't been a part of that particular show, you know. And so I said, well, maybe I'll do something next year. And so then I began to think about what could I do, and I said, well, let me write something. It was relative to Black history, and so the poem came to me. And as the poem came, and I put it all down, and I did present it the next year at the Black History event, and it was well received. And like I say, the more I reflected on the poem, I said, well, let me substantiate this. I'm saying my people were pilots and Olympians, pyramid builders, explorers. Let me substantiate this. And so I'd done some research and put together some of the people in history, some of the people in Black history that have been this, that personifies. Slaves, my people have been achievers, doers.
Some men came into my hut and took my boy away. He's big and strong, but could not fight. So many came that day. They all had sticks that came out fire, and some had long, long knives. They took so many boys and girls, so many men and wives. They had some rope that made of iron and put it round their feet. They stood them in a long, long line and marched them down the street. They took them to the water's edge and tied them to a boat. And then they banged the fire sticks, and then away they float. Today been many moons and suns, and many seasons rains. Inside my body very broke, and many, many pains. They say I'll never see them childs, 'cause I am very old. They say they took them far away and traded them for gold. They all indeed were treasured, so I think when I leave this place, I'll surely see them all again. A mother never loses faith.
Ode Dingy. The ship was still unloading. There was excitement in the air. A dozen voices cackled. The darkies are here. A young man stood upon a stage, about 17 years old. He trembled as he realized that he was being sold. He didn't understand a word that anybody said. But can't you just imagine what was going through his head? Some man had paid 12 guineas. Or $87. They were buying men and women like so many pigs and ducks. He didn't understand a word that anybody said. He didn't know what was in store where he was being led. They took him to a farmhouse just outside of town. They tied him to an outdoor pole and told him to lie down. This little coward of a man thought he was very brave. He said, "Nigger, I own you, and you're going to be my slave." He didn't understand a word this would-be massa said. The coward grabbed a harness belt and whipped him till he bled. He had heard stories growing up about the boogeyman, and now that he had met him, he begins to understand. Wo bungai, Odai Dinge. Odai Dinge is my name. Though I don't understand your words, I'm not someone you'll tame. For now you have the upper hand, but someday you'll know too. You cannot keep my people down. We're every bit as good as you.
The foundation. Once upon a time, a race of people who were stalked like prey were set upon by hunters day after day. Their villages were raided and their dwellings were invaded. They were captured like animals and stolen like treasure and shackled like convicts and raped at leisure. They were spirited across oceans to be put on display, to be auctioned like livestock, who the highest would pay. Men, women, and children sometimes sold in a lot. Families split and separated without a second thought. They were whipped and intimidated for year after year, and if perceived threatening, they were strung up in fear. They were subjected to ridicule and held in disdain, denied education, and absorbed so much pain. For decades and decades, they were forced and enslaved, but their spirit was strong and their stalwarts were brave. So they suffered their dignities and championed their rights and fought for their freedoms through the darkest of nights. As they increased their knowledge and rejected their doubts, they trampled resistance and heightened their hopes. They raised their expectations, enlarged their aspirations, and changed the world and the outlook of future generations. They now say to their descendants, the lessons of our history means there is nothing that you cannot do, for we have long laid the foundation. Now the building's up to you.
I know better. They said that I was less than them, that they were more than me. They said it wouldn't matter if they hung me from a tree. They said that I was like a dog and should do what I'm told. They said that I was worthless, yet they paid for me in gold. They tried to keep me ignorant and keep me in my place. They tried to make me shameful of the color of my face. But I know that I am beautiful, and I know that I belong, and I know that what they do to me is very, very wrong. But I have faith in God above. I know He loves me too, and I'll survive and even thrive no matter what they do. I know I've paid a terrible price, but it will be well spent when my children are respected and one of them is president.
What made me decide to make a message into the poetry? I mean, expressing the history, it has to be in a message form, because the message is, this is where we've been. This is what we've endured. This is what we've come through. This is what we must do. This is what we can do. So there's got to be a message. And, you know, we have always been, subjected to this and that, some sort of struggle, some sort of barriers. And time has evolved. Things have evolved. I'm not that young anymore. I've seen a lot, and I've seen a lot of evolution. There was a time when I couldn't do this, couldn't do that. We're restricted. Could, but was restricted. And there was a time when my associations, who I associated with, who associated with me, was restricted. That has changed now. I look at the youth today. Oh, it's beautiful to me. It's beautiful. They play. The young people that they reject, they don't even know. But they must know some of it. They must know where it was and how it is, so that they can appreciate and improve yet and still. So that's, like I say, a message is required. And as a parent, as a grandparent, we must inform our children, our young. We must inform the youth and implore them to do better, to strive for the highest goals. Young brother, are you fooled to all the folly of the flashes in the pan? Do you think the clothes you're wearing are the measure of a man? Do you think it really matters what the make is of your car? Because if you ain't going nowhere, it won't take you very far. Do you want to be a dealer? Make lots of money selling dope? Will that make you successful? Is that your highest hope? Do you think that robbing people of the things they worked hard for will lead to any happiness or open any door? Do you want to be a gangster who needs to hang out with a gang? Would you like to go to prison? Do you think that that's your thing? Do you think that hurting others is the best thing you should do if you want to set examples for those looking up to you? Define yourself, young brother, as to what you want to be. If you want to have a future, you will need integrity. You should think about your family or how your mama tried. Will you pay her back in sorrows or will you fill her up with pride? Do you have any inkling of what you can achieve? Master any great profession depends on how much you believe. If you really want to matter, be the best that you can be. If you want to make a difference, simply do things differently. For the higher you aim is the higher you'll climb. You'll reach dizzying heights, just a matter of time. It won't always be easy, but you have the right stuff. For the people that you came from had much more than enough. America, you're beautiful. My hat is off to you. For years of undue agony, you're starting to undo. Your repentance has been heartfelt. I've long watched you making gains through good people's uneasiness, through many victims' pains. Hats off to you, America. It seems you've had enough. Such rancor and division over really silly stuff. Past long-held silly notions in the nation's history, like supremacy of one group or of inequality. Those notions weren't just silly. In fact, they were much worse. For how could you go forward if you stayed stuck in reverse? It's time to now expunge the stain of racist bigotry and all come together and unite in harmony. Of course there will be people who will raise angry voices loud in making sure their message will be heard above the crowd. But it probably won't be hatred or even one of just desserts. For although the wounds are healing, the truth is it still hurts. There will be greedy and also selfish folks with reasons all their own who will weed your hopeful gardens with the seeds of doubt they've sown. But if they are rejected and your champions given chance, like cowards they will poke and hide while heroes rise to circumstance. Hats off to you, new generations who aren't rooted in the past. For led by your maturity, the nation has grown up at last. May you continue in your progress and your faith in God abide. And make yourselves a nation in which everyone takes pride. And may God bless you, America. Every daughter, every son. E pluribus unum. Out of many, one. I mean, what I would like them to take away, those who read the poem, I'd like particularly the young to be inspired and challenged and aware, and proud. Because I've tried to express things and put down things that they, don't have general knowledge of. Aging is aging means you've experienced a great deal. I watch different television shows from time to time, quiz shows, and they might ask a young person of 25 years old, they might ask them a question that dates back, 40, 50 years. I'm saying, they don't know that answer. If there's another person on the show, that's older, I'm saying, now that person will know that answer. And it's like, you have to pass the information on, so I'd like people to appreciate, the history, and it's not about me, it's about what I'm trying to express, and I'd like them to get it, you know?
Young sister, you were a queen of Africa, brought to a foreign land. You were a mother to us all. You were a guiding hand. You always glowed with beauty. You always shone with grace. Your courage was enormous, no matter what you faced. You defined our integrity. You personified our strength. As abuse was heaped upon you, too wicked and great length. You planted and you cleaned. You also cooked and fed. You swept and you wept, and many times you bled. You saw your children suffer. There was nothing you could say. So you set us on the freedom road and pointed out the way. You filled us up with knowledge, and you loaded us up with heart. Then you gave us our directions to make a brand new start. You said, walk the straight and narrow and learn your lessons well. And don't be afraid to take some heat, because you just walked through hell. In coming through this history, in coming from this pain, we look to you, young sister, to make us proud and strong again. Teach your children to work hard, and teach them to be kind, and tell them when they seek the truth is what they find. We look to you, young sister, to make us proud and strong again. You are a queen in Africa and mother to us all.
You young have little knowledge of the way things used to be, because time keeps marching forward, and the past is history. But there was once upon a time your people were in chains. They were held in enslavement and suffered many pains. They took abuse and lots of scorn and struggled to survive. They persisted for their children, and they kept their hopes alive. They were beaten, raped, and murdered. They were held in gross contempt, boys and girls, and men and women, and no one was exempt. They endured denunciation as they battled hell on earth, were denied the education that could qualify their worth. But yet, this was a people who rejected such disgrace and kept intent on rising up, no matter what they faced. For they had a thirst for learning and a burning zest for life and a persevering nature that kept withstanding any strife. As time went by, they challenged laws and changed long-held ideas, and they began to gain respect, withheld so many years. They defeated segregation and minimized discrimination. But of course, there's always something more to do. You must get that education. You must have the dedication for those who will follow after you. For now you have your own lives, and the lives you'll bring to birth. And the greatness of your pursuits is the measure of your worth. The position that you now are in was hardly won with ease. The obstacles have been reduced. So no excuses, please.
God bless Canada, my home and native land. Long before the words were penned, glorious and free, my people knew that Canada was the place to be. They escaped from forced enslavement. To this land of high ideal, they found sincere compassion and a freedom that was real. They had been long subjected to great abuse and scorn as they sought a new beginning. Their hope was soon reborn. With welcome arms you took them in, and here they made a stand. You gave my people refuge and became our native land. They brought with them their courage, their culture, faith, and pride. They worked to help the country grow at their new neighbor's side. In the early years of nationhood, when peril threatened all, when called upon for their support, they rose up to the call.
There was sometimes influence from some who didn't agree that God made us all equal and that all folks should be free. But folks like Papineau and Simcoe, folks like Robinson and Brown, folks like Pierpont, Bibb, and others brought common sense around. Although ignorance raised its head again during the First World War, my people first rejected helped to even up the score. It was a segregated battalion called Construction Number 2. They did some military jobs that others wouldn't do. But along with men of the 106th, they fought and served with pride, and like so many other soldiers, for love of country died. The sacrifice of many different groups has made our country grand, and attitudes have greatly changed the more we understand.
There have been times and places, though, where arrogance and fears has helped tear down communities that has thrived for many years. So we must keep a watchful eye so that we'll be aware. And when things start to come apart, we'll make a quick repair. For if wrongs are left unrighted, it can soon become too late. And we must all seek solutions that will keep our country great. And we must use all resources to give all people what they need. Good schools, good jobs, good training, and be encouraged to succeed. For the greatness of our country is a gift of providence to all First Nations that were here and all who've come here since. And God has richly blessed us as one nation strong and free, one who stands up for all people. My people will stand up for thee. God bless Canada. I've always been a dreamer somewhat, I guess, and I envision doing many things. I have projects in mind. I have projects in mind that I have had in mind for ages, and hopefully I'll be able to get to some of them. I'd like to do some films. I'd like to present the story of people where I come from, where I grew up, in a much larger focus. There's a film, I think it was The Bronx Tale. It's sort of like I'm very proud of where I come from. I come from Halifax, Nova Scotia. I come from Creighton Street. I come from a beautiful black community, the whole area, the whole time. And I'd like to expand upon that in big fashion, big style. They have Avonlea or The Wind at My Back, taken in Prince Edward Island, I believe. Wonderful program, I'm sure. I'd like to have same story come out about Preston, about Africville, the same, and represent and depict the people in the same fashion, because they've done the same things. They were the same people. They lived the same way. They had restrictions and obstacles, but they had hopes and aspiration and ambitions. But it hasn't been shown. It's hardly seen. I remember I've heard years ago. People joke when they watch television and films from some years back. They say, "Oh, were there no black people before the 50s or 60s? Were there no black people then?" But I'd like to bring things in a larger scope, and I have some musical ideas, projects in mind, and then I have some humanitarian things. Hopefully one thing will enable me to do others, I just want to do the best I can and make the greatest contribution that I can, and praise the Lord.